Where are they gonna be showing this at? Where are they gonna be showing this FOMC meeting at? Where are they gonna be showing it at, chat? It's Wonderful Wednesday. What's the word? How are y'all doing? Is it gonna be on Fox? Fox News? No, they gonna watch President Trump's FOMC meeting. I know he talk at 2. What's this? 2 p.m. I just want to make sure I got the right YouTube channel. Guys, how y'all doing? How y'all doing today, man? How is everybody doing out there? Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready for J Powell in the FOMC meeting? I don't know. We'll find it when I guess we'll find it at 2 when it happened. But seems like there's a lot of excitement brewing in crypto right now. Day trading the FOMC meeting. FOMC meeting. FOMC meeting. We'll find it when it's time. We'll find it when it's time. So what's going on? So I know everybody's talking about this chart here. The global liquidity has hit an all-time high. So now we got an anticipation that we could see a nice bounce from cryptocurrency, which is good because we were due for a bounce, right? So it's not, I don't think it's something that's alien, right? That we can't see a bounce, right? What I would like to see personally is I want to see a little more strength in the stock market, but we are starting to see those stocks that we talked about yesterday turn that red weekly candle so far into a green weekly candle. So that's actually a good thing, right? That's actually a good thing. You want to see a lot of these stocks start performing as that wave of global liquidity does come into the cycle. So we're starting to get what we need, right? And I'm starting to see some beautiful setups all across the board, right? I want to see that NDQ here also start to get in the green for the weekly. We still need to get above those 50-day moving average, right? The SP DR here, SPY, SPX. We need to see those get above the 50-day moving averages, but again, expect a lot of volatility going into this Fed meeting, right? All these stock RSIs are oversold. So maybe we do start to get that bounce right in the cryptocurrency market. I just made a video earlier about the ETH dominance and the ETH BTC chart, and just taking a look at that, comparing it to some of our favorite ERC20 tokens like Jasmine Coin, right? So as we start to see that bounce here from ETH, we're getting a lot of good news. I think XRP, salute to the XRP family, right? XRP finally, right? Finally, Ripple beat that case with the SEC. So that could also be a catalyst, coupled with some of the things that could happen during this FOMC meeting. So a lot to be excited about if you are expecting the next leg up. Like I said, everybody, a lot of people. Oh, what happened? What happened here? Can y'all not hear me? Let me go here. Looks like they took me off my screen here. Let me get that screen back up for you guys. But what I was saying is a lot of people kind of assumed that I was bearish when I'm not technically bearish. I just was kind of like giving you guys exactly what I was seeing on the charts. But now we're starting to see a lot of that those indicators turn bullish and put into some signals, anticipating that the stock market starts to bounce as well. And we get some type of a dovish tone from Jay Powell. All right, so I'm still trying to get this FOMC meeting thing live here and see if we can actually get the live one, right? Live from the Fed. Live from the Fed, baby. But what about y'all? Do y'all think that he's gonna cut the rates? Right? Do y'all think that he's gonna cut the rates? What do y'all think he's gonna do? Y'all think he's gonna pause? Y'all think he's gonna cut the rates? I mean, what is y'all anticipation with Jay Powell? You know what I mean? Is Jay Powell finally going to succumb to Trump's demands, and that's cutting these rates and pushing us into an area where monetary policy is not so restrictive and tight? 215. I'm seeing a couple channels here that might show it. Let's get into some of these comments and see how you guys are doing across the board. Honda, thank you for the $2, man. Appreciate that. Brandon, what's good? John 36 in here. What's up on Chain Millie? Carlton, you want to do the meeting on Yahoo Finance Live? Okay, let me see. Yahoo Finance Live. I'm gonna go with what you said, man. Yahoo Finance Live. Let's see what they got cooking up. Fed J Powell is scheduled for like 2:30. So it looks like it's scheduled for 2:30. So we might just be hanging around until 2:30, or maybe we get a little bit more info within that meeting before then. But like I said, we got things happening, man. Global liquidity rising. Apparently, there's already been 18 XRP ETF filings now submitted by the SEC. We've seen a lot of SUI getting those ETF filings as well. So a lot of these altcoins are also starting to get filings. I put out an awareness post on an altcoin called DAG, ticker DAG Constellation, looking very, very bullish. They call it the America's blockchain, right? So really looking at those lists that have those USA coins that could potentially get that move, because that narrative is starting to heat up across the board. All right, but yeah, SEC ends legal battle here with the Ripple company, right? And apparently the token XRP. So we are seeing a little bounce from altcoins. Like I said, this is a win for crypto. And I made this statement when we had the summit. I was like, look, guys, this is a new era, right? Let's turn a new leaf. We got pro crypto laws. We got a house that's behind us, and we're working to accomplish in this space. And now we can look at this next 4 years as being in a bullish environment where we can utilize what we know, the tools that we have, to make as much money as possible. Now is the time really to lock in, right? Despite what environment we go to, regardless if we go into a bearish environment or a bullish environment, right? There will always be opportunity within the crypto space. So this is actually a good thing. Great win for cryptocurrency. And again, if we start to get that bounce coupled with a dovish tone from Powell, this could be really, really good for the crypto space. We got 30 people in here. Make sure that you like and subscribe. My name is Crypto Willie. He said, what's the post X bubble? We can hear you but not see. No cuts today. Yeah, I think that what we're having here is a let's see here. 99% chance as a pause. So a lot of people anticipate Powell will continue to play hardball. So if he continues to play hardball, then we have to decipher how Trump will respond when the ball in his hands, right? And how do you guys believe Trump will respond when the ball in his hands, right? Will he get petty as well, right? You know what I mean? How will these tariffs on April 2nd truly affect risk on assets? Why is gold rising, and the elite traders like the Buffetts, the Zuckerbergs, and all of these elites, why are they currently in cash right now? So many unanswered questions. And I think as we get into these latter FOMC meetings, we'll have a good tone of what could come within the next 2 months. Right now, May has an 83% chance of another pause. Right. So will we walk into that sell in May, go away theme? That can really, really hurt the altcoin market, because if Bitcoin goes into that environment where people start, adopting that mindset of selling May and go away, we can see maybe a drop to around 70K, 69K, maybe Bitcoin breaking that 50-day moving average, what we don't want to see on the weekly, which could really, really hurt altcoins, because if BTC goes down another 20-30%, you got to expect that altcoins could go down another 70-80%, which is crazy, right? But that's the type of space that we're in today. So yeah, these next meetings will play a major part, but we can't argue that we got the we can't argue that we got the liquidity on our side right now. So that's also a pretty good thing. All right, let me check. They said 2 p.m. So let me see if he's actually talking now, guys, so I can actually find Big Dog J Powell talking here. See how. Okay, the Federal Reserve. So so I guess he'll be talking here at 2:30. So you guys can see here, we found the channel, right? The Federal Reserve channel here. Um, so I guess he'll start talking around 2:30. Apparently, this meeting was set up was started streaming 29 minutes ago. Set up for 2:30, right? So while that's getting ready to happen, let me just go through Twitter and talk about a few things that we are seeing. Binance it seems to be loading up on Ethereum. Yeah, Ethereum is starting to get bounces across the table, right? We're starting to these what was happening with a lot of these people that was so-called loading up on Ethereum was starting to finally see it pay off, man. And I'm telling you, man, if Ethereum bounces or Ethereum shows some sign of life, so we could see some really, really nice moves from some of these ERC20 tokens. So again, the talk of the town right now is the global liquidity chart. We got to keep an eye on unemployment and also the housing markets. Been a little bit of weakness within the housing markets, and that strength that we're seeing in gold is something also to pay attention to, because at the end of the day, when you start to see people rushing to gold, that could be a sign that people are looking for that hedge and that safe haven, right? So we'll continue to monitor these things and just see how everything turns out here. Just seeing if I left out anything on my watch list, right? There's been this you got Poly Market here asking, will the Fed end QT before May, right? They say there's 100% chance that the Fed will end quantitative tightening before May. So if you're buying cryptocurrency now, you're kind of like taking that bet, understanding like, hey, I'm walking into an environment of uncertainty, but if I'm buying here and I'm right, if I make this bet now and I'm actually right, and Q4 is bullish, or the Q3 and Q4 is bullish, because you never know, we can go into this area that's like a super cycle where things just start going crazy. We've seen it before. So if these next two you know quarters is well, next, after Q2, should I say, these next couple of quarters after Q2 is bullish, you're kind of taking a bet right now that the Fed is going to stop QT, as we're seeing multiple countries going to QE, right? EU went in today, you had Germany, and you also had China. So just really a step in the right direction, chat. Really a step in the right direction. Really a step in the right direction. We got 41 people in here, man. Make sure that you like and subscribe, chat. Make sure that you like and subscribe. So let me get into some of these comments here and actually see what's going on. Somebody said, X says he thinks he might cut. Inflation went below expectations. Yeah, man, inflation has been below expectations. A lot of things are coming down. I've seen gas coming down. I've seen eggs coming down. So things are coming. Says we moon in June, 200X coming soon. Let's go, man. Love the bullish energy. They keep the rates unchanged. I'm thinking that's what happens as well. Bull run coming in May. We go from selling May and go away to a bull run coming in May. Millie, let's go. Unleash alt season. No spoon in the house, man. We got the moon boys in here. I'm just kidding with you. I'm just kidding with you, man. I'm just kidding with you. We're all a moon boy. Hey, XRP, salute to XRP, wise minds, man. Salute to you, man. You've been really, really, really bullish on XRP, and y'all got another W today, right? How's XRP actually responding to this news here on the charts here, man? It's good to see XRP doing his thing, having a nice move on the weekly, really, really showing a strong chart, man. And we talked about XRP the other day, how it's been one of the strongest charts out of the top 10 coins, right? If you look at it, it's above both moving averages. You're almost looking at an RSI, ultimate RSI cross here. This thing has been really, really strong. We had our concern here about, with this triple top, but at the end of the day, we're seeing nothing but strength. And when you get a catalyst like beating the SEC, this could be what XRP needs to actually break this next neckline here, right? Break this actual neckline here and go back into all-time highs and kind of like retest this breakout and a price discovery. Retest the breakout and price discovery, which would be crazy, because if a lot of people, I've seen news on X that like that everybody was talking about Solana flipping Ethereum. What if XRP flips Ethereum, right? Or is it, yeah, what if XRP flips Ethereum? That would be crazy. What do y'all think? Y'all think XRP could flip Ethereum? What do y'all think, chat? Wall Street Journal also reported rates stay the same. Yeah, everything is 99. It's a 99% that chance that rates stay the same. Like, I think that's kind of like the consensus right now. XRP will appeal for reparations. What? Y'all coming back for everything on XRP. Yeah, I'm gonna stream Powell. We're waiting for Powell to talk. He's supposed to talk at 2:30. This is the official Federal Reserve YouTube page here. So just give it some time, guys. We got about 20 minutes until Powell comes and talks. It's scheduled for 2:30. So yeah, we're just kind of hanging around. Feel free to ask some questions, whatever, until Powell comes on, man. Until Powell comes on. Yeah, it's March 2:30. You can see right there. So we kind of just hanging around waiting for him to come on. So if you're just hanging in, 20 more minutes. Yeah, I was playing with constellations on Wallet today, kind of like playing around on the constellation ecosystem, guys. I'm telling you, man, the chart is strong. This thing is a USA coin sitting at $100 million market cap, man. And just go do some research on some of the people that's behind it, some of the partnerships that they have. When we talk about tokens like XRP, XLM, HBAR, Const, I think we gotta stop sleeping on Constellation, man. Dag, I've been doing a lot of research on this. We're looking really, really good right now. If we can get an ultimate RSI cross, this chart is looking beautiful, and it's a USA coin sitting at around $100 million market cap, right? So, if we get this narrative that actually pops off this USA coin, I'm looking for the mid caps and the low caps sitting around 100 million. I like stuff like RSR, Reserve Protocol, and Constellation DAG. Stuff that's not already in the billions and things of that sort. And this is one that really, really has my attention. So I encourage you guys, not financial advice, to go out there, man, and do some research on Constellation. This is a sleeper, and it's not listed on a lot of tier one exchanges, similar to something like Casper, where it still has that potential to get listed on centralized exchanges. Really, really, really liking what I'm seeing from DAG here, man. Really, really, really liking just from the research that I've been doing. But yeah, like try using the wallets and stuff. I downloaded a what's it called? A goddamn Stargazer wallet. So I downloaded a Stargazer wallet and I started like hanging around and seeing what was going on. And it's cross chain. You can literally send ETH from your crypto.com account straight to your Stargazer ETH address, and then you can swap cross chain and buy some Constellation. So it's really not hard. They're calling themselves America's blockchain. These are some of the bullish connections and partnerships with Constellation. And I'm really looking at this at $100 million market cap. Just if it goes to a $10 billion market cap, I think we win here. And, like I said, do your research. Do your research on this. Just something that I have a little bit of interest in when we talk about USA coins and these low cap USA coins that have massive partnerships and massive potential. And this is one that just checks off the box. So go do your research. Right? Don't take my word for it. Don't take no YouTuber's word for it. Go out there and do your own research, chat. Go and do your own research. We got 44 people in here. When is the Jasmine to $1 video coming? What? I just dropped the Jasmine. Yes. Will Jasmine explode to $1? XRP does have the gold stamp approval, not rugged. Q4 bullish as a bags. Yeah, man, that's the motto. I always said Q4 was going to be the top. Jasmine is my Christmas bonus money. Jasmine is looking good, man. If we start to see ETH really bounce, it's going to be nice. It's going to be nice. It's going to be nice, chat. I'm telling you. It is going to be nice. All right, we got about 19 minutes until Jay Powell comes in and talks to man. And what coins and altcoins are you guys looking at? What are you scouting? That's in the USA narrative or even the AI narrative. I'm big on stuff like Tau. You know what I mean? I'm loving what Tau is doing and how they've got actual AI developers over there really, really building some good things within these Tau subnets, right? What could increase awareness and liquidity within the Tau ecosystem, which they truly need, man. But things take time. Things take time. You can't expect everything to be like Solana. Speaking of Solana, we just got news in, right? Breaking news here that We got breaking news from Solana, guys. This is huge for another win for crypto space. Solana ETF set to launch in the US. The first Solana futures ETF named SolZ and SALT are set to launch in United States via volatility shares. SolZ will track. This is crazy. We just got Solana ETFs after everything we've been through with Solana. You know what I mean? And this is what I was telling when people when I was debating and arguing with people like, hey, we could have seen an altcoin season, but maybe that altcoin season was on Solana. Now we got Solana ETFs, guys. So all of that bullish shit that's happening is starting to creep up and it's all piling in. And eventually you got to think that the demand and the price is going to come in. Right. So you got to look at this two ways. You know, we're seeing uncertainty in the market. Does the market continue to bleed? Regardless, if it bleeds down, we still have opportunity. We got dips now. So even if it goes up from here, we still have opportunity. So regardless what happens, in my opinion, this is a win-win situation, man. Win-win situation, chat. Win-win situation. We got 45 people in here. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Aether. Yes, man. ATH. If that's a USA token, very good pick, man. I love the GPU narrative, man. I love the GPU narrative. Not many coins can pull it off when we talk about the GPU narrative. It's a really, really hard narrative to pull off, but the ones that do pull it off are going to do really well. Parcel, yes, man. I just found out a few days ago that Parcel is a USA RWA play, and we can't sleep on Profi. Big picks, Monsa. I'm a big fan of those picks. Ondo tokenizing treasures, yes, man. RWA. We cannot sleep on the RWA narrative. I don't believe it's US based, but I'm looking closely at XCN. XCN has been strong. I've been seeing for the last 3 months, man. It had an only up type of chart. And everybody's been telling me, Millie, check out XCN. Millie, check out XCN. I haven't done a deep dive just yet. I think right now I'm been pinned like really pinned down on focusing on Tau and Constellation, but maybe I take a look at XCN as well. Trouble with Soul, it has massive unlocks still. Well, and we've been saying the unlocks for a while. They had unlocks that happened within the last month or 2 months, and we seen the price really go down only because the market went down. So I wouldn't be too worried about the unlocks with Soul, and we can't forget that Soul is hyper deflationary because of Pump.Fun. Actually, all of the rugs help the all of the rugs on Pump.Fun help Solana with being a hyper deflationary product. Yo, what happened? Chat, what is going on with crypto.com? Chat, what happened? Like I heard that they they redacted the burn that they had. So remember when we had the crypto.com burn? Well, it looks like they're trying to put those tokens back in circulation. I've never seen a burn be redacted. And look, that's and then but to be fair, 2 days later they say they're doing like a 50 million crypto.com burn. So it's not really 70 million. I think it's like 20 million when you add the new burn that they're doing. But that was kind of, I don't know if that was the best announcement to kind of like, you know, redact. I don't know. I know they're doing it for like an altcoin reserve or apparently, and people voted for it. But you know how these votes be when we talk about these decentralized things that are decentralized are not always decentralized, if you know what I'm saying. But what is going on with Crow, man? That was some crazy. I ain't never see that, man. Crow. But you know, with all the partnerships and stuff, I'm not surprised. I'm really not surprised. And guys, you got to look at it this way. I don't really look at it bearish because they got to pay partnerships. They got to pay for those stadium. Oh, they got a lot of partnerships. They got to pay for that stuff. You know, it's an exchange. And maybe because things have been tough as far as being an illiquid market, maybe they haven't been generating that revenue to pay for those things. And they need to remint those tokens. But that was just a crazy announcement. But it's a 10-year plan. So, you know, if Crow goes from 8 cents to $1.80, well, hey, you still won, right? But you know, you just don't know how that inflation will look. But then again, they said it's going to the reserves for crypto.com, right? So if a hack happens, maybe they preparing for some type of major hack, they will have those that Crow token for the reserves, right? So you got to always look at the pros and cons. I kind of like to look at the both sides of the spectrum. But Really, really, really intriguing decision right there from crypto.com. Who knows? But they got a lot of stuff that they building, right? They're doing sports betting. They're doing all kind of stuff, right? And they always say you want to be a jack, what they say, a jack of all trades is a jack of none. Does this truly hurt crypto.com because they're doing so many different things? I don't know. I would love to know you guys' opinions in the comment. All right, we getting ready. We got about what's this 13 minutes until J Powell comes up here and speaks. We got 54 people in here. Make sure that you like and subscribe. If you fade H bar, you a noob. Come on, man. You know Millie's not gonna fade H bar. Velo's elected by BlackRock to tokenize assets, also gold. Man, I gotta look more into Velo, Laurel. That is an interesting play. I'd never heard of I Love Puppies, Louis the Cool. Chris been different since that Trump meeting for real. Papa, don't start. Don't start. Don't come in here and start. Chris been different. Unlocking Burns is like, yo, that's nasty work, right, Kenneth? That is bro. That is nasty work. AOKG, crypto.com was the first token of all time to redact their burns. So they did a burn a while back, and now they're redacting it. They kind of like taking it. But I'm not against it because they got a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of people in crypto as retail, we don't understand that these are businesses and they gotta pay for bills too. They got demand too. They got the things they got overhead too, should I say? And we don't never take account for that. We don't never take a account. Like you want a good exchange, you want crypto.com when you open your app to not be slow as fuck. Excuse my language, damn. Sorry, y'all. You don't want crypto.com to be slow, right? You want it to hop in and you want the UI to work well. They gotta pay for things. Like be patient. Understand that crypto is not all about, just dropping a coin and that's it. It's a lot that goes into it. That just means Bernie means nothing. They become token unlocks. Man, no. It just depends on if you turn it to the dead wallet. Apparently, when you send it to these dead wallets, it's like throwing a ledger into an ocean, and you're never supposed to see those tokens again. So hopefully, this doesn't become a thing. Hopefully, this doesn't become a thing. It's over. Yo, it's over. You're giving you a rich. That rich shows assembly central. I don't know second time 32, but that's crazy work. They already charge a lot for trading. No, it's impossible to like trade. Like if you're doing like excuse me. Dang, if you're doing like trading on crypto.com and you're like 1 hour chart, 15 minute, 5 minutes, oh man, you know. No, you can't do that on crypto.com. That's crazy. Yeah, I heard they was burning Cardano out of all tokens. I don't know what they're doing, man, but they said they're supposed to be stacking more Crow tokens for an altcoin reserve. But apparently the wallet that they sent the Crow tokens to wasn't truly a burn wallet if you can resend them back, right? When you send tokens to a burn wallet, that's it. That's over. That's OVO. There's nothing you can do from their point on. That's how it's supposed to be. It's like sending it into a renounced contract that you can never ever get those tokens again. So a lot of people didn't like that because it's like you don't put out that, hey, this is a burn wallet when it's not really a burn wallet. You get what I'm saying? So that could be a conflict of interest. Talk about Jasmine needs more. Yeah, I talked about Jasmine a little bit earlier today when I made a video. You should go watch that video, New Power. And I do appreciate the comment, but like you out here trying to debo me into talking about Jasmine is really crazy, bro. I know your name New Power, but come on, bro. Bro, try to bully me. Okay, we got 9 minutes into this until Big Dog J Powell comes in and crashes the market. Let's see how we're doing. We're doing good, man. We got Soul ETFs. So the news is so far, we got Soul ETFs. SEC dropped the case against Ripple. That's two big things right there. That is two big things, man. And now, man, if we get a dovish J Powell, next leg loading, man. Next leg loading. We get a dovish J Powell, next leg loading. Next leg loading. ETH back above 2K. We got the ETH bounce. I did watch it. Thanks for doing, Jazz. No problem, man. No problem. New power. Facts. They are gonna get a new token creators wrecked from sending they whole burn supply to the. That's messed up, AOKG. That's messed up. You think that they, you think that a lot of people were, assuming that was a burn wallet, and now it's not really a burn wallet. That could, yeah, yeah. I didn't think about it like that. Yeah, hopefully no other chain ever does that, because that's not supposed to happen. Yeah, they gotta clean that up. They gotta clean that up for sure, for sure. 8 more minutes, guys. 8 more minutes until Jay Powell sends us down. Oh no, he might send us up though. I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be bullish. I'm trying to be bullish. Let's see how some stocks doing. See how some stocks doing. All right. Let's see what we got here. We got the SPX trying to put that green candle in for the weekly, guys. Trying to put that green candle in the weekly. Like I said, I'm even looking at stocks right now, man. Tesla is looking like really, really good here with this dead RSI, stock RSI. Two wick candles on the weekly so far, right? Week not over. Take that into consideration. Week not over. We need these green. We need these candles on the stocks to turn into green candles here. We need the bounces on the NDQ here. So hopefully Powell can give us some more motivation for the stock market, because a lot of this news that we're getting is for cryptocurrency, which is good for crypto, right? But we also need more information from a macro standpoint, so we can get some of these stocks moving, right? So we can get some of that wave of liquidity that's supposed to be on the table for risk on assets to flow into these risk on assets. But Powell does have to clear up some of that uncertainty. Does have to clear up some of that uncertainty. All right. So all right, they should be flipping over to Jay Powell any minute now. Any minute now. In about 6 minutes chat, I'm gonna get into some more of these comments here. Only make Kiwi worth of accidentally sending tokens to the burn, pure organic entertainment, and make it we trust love maker. BlackRock XRP ETF filing coming soon. ETH been pumping. ETH been pumping. See, it's always somebody that come in here and be like, ETH been pumping. What is a pump? What do you consider a pump, sir? What do you consider a pump? From 1700 to 2000? I mean, from 1800 to 2000? I guess you can call that a pump, right? You can say this is a little pump right here. This week, we done went from about 1800 to 2000, about 1800 to 2000, about 1500 bucks, 1500, 2000 bucks. You think that's a pump? All right, man. Okay. Thinks that's a pump. He thinks that's a pump. Way to go for ETH, baby. I'm going to have and see my psychiatrist if the market goes down. Glad to see you happy, really. A couple weeks back, I thought you were about to pack. Oh, you wouldn't have liked my walking vlog video. But no, not getting a job at McDonald's, but definitely not against going out there and making some extra money. I think that should be on everybody's plate, regardless of what environment that we go into. I'm just chilling, man. You think I'm happier? I'm the same person, bro. I'm looking at the market the same way. I'm not necessarily bullish or bearish. I'm preparing for either scenario. I think that's the best thing you could do. You can only hope that this thing continues to be bullish. We got about 4 minutes until this meeting starts here, so I'll go ahead and put it back on the screen for you guys. Y'all guys got to stop assuming I'm bearish, man. I'm helping people by being realistic. I wish they sent them crow coins to my. What, you would have run crow, bro? What did you on? Daily pump? Oh, that's good, man. What up, GS? Good to see you. School water fountain, but maybe it'll upgrade. What does that mean, Kenneth? I'm confused. Yeah, man. Okay, well, if you're a day trader, you make a couple $1,000 on a trade. That's some good money. That's some good money. I ain't know, man. That's some good money. What? We all would love to make a couple $1,000 in 4 hours, on a trade. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Oh, the ETH pump. Yeah. The ETH pump, right? 3 minutes, chat. 3 minutes, chat. Until the GOAT, J Powell, comes and takes us to the Graceland, wealth paradise. Million of teams. Salute to UGS. Dang, bro. You ain't got no hopium for me, bro. Bro said McDonald's. Like, I'm just gonna quit YouTube and go straight to McDonald's. Dang, bro. You ain't got no hope for Millie, bro. Straight to Mickey D's. That's crazy work. That is crazy work. No hope for me. Damn. Pack it up. Hit that like button according to Nate. All right, so let's see what else going on, chat. Make sure I ain't missed nothing. You know what I mean? Everybody bullish. XRP bullish. Solana should be bullish. We're not in a bear market. That's one thing, right? There's no bear market. Okay, so this is the news that did happen. The Federal Reserve leaves interest rates unchanged, remains at 4.2 to 4.5%. All right, so they paused again. We know we got to pause. Now, only thing that we need Jay Powell to come out here is give us any type of hint that QT is about to end. And if we can get a hint, if we can get a dovish Powell, right, coupled with a dovish Donald Trump about this whole economy and potential recession situation, right, and these tariffs, right, this could be the fuel that we need for this next leg up and this next wave of liquidity. We got Solana ETFs. We got SEC withdrawing the Ripple appeal. All right, we one step closer to the next leg up. We one step closer to the next leg up, chat. We are one step closer to the next leg up. All right, one more minute until Jay Powell sends us down. I hope meme coins go up. Yeah, meme coins are gonna go up, man. Meme coins gonna go up. There's always gonna be some meme coins going up. Yeah, we gotta pay attention to some of the tokens that Trump is buying. WLF has really been supporting Ethereum, has really been supporting SUI. All right, let's get it. Let's get it, chat. Let me get some volume for you guys.
Good afternoon. My colleagues and I remain squarely focused on achieving our dual mandate goals of maximum employment and stable prices for the benefit of the American people. The economy is strong overall and has made significant progress toward our goals over the past 2 years. Labor market conditions are solid, and inflation has moved closer to our 2% longer run goal, though it remains somewhat elevated. In support of our goals, today the Federal Open Market Committee decided to leave our policy interest rate unchanged. We also made the technical decision to slow the pace of decline in the size of our balance sheet. I'll have more to say about these decisions after briefly reviewing economic developments. Economic activity continued to expand at a solid pace in the fourth quarter of last year, with GDP rising at 2.3%. Recent indications, however, point to a moderation in consumer spending following the rapid growth seen over the second half of 2024. Surveys of households and businesses point to heightened uncertainty about the economic outlook. It remains to be seen how these developments might affect future spending and investment. In our summary of economic projections, the median participant projects GDP to rise 1.7% this year, somewhat lower than projected in December, and to rise a bit below 2% over the next 2 years. In the labor market, conditions remain solid. Payroll job gains averaged 200,000 per month over the past 3 months. The unemployment rate at 4.1% remains low and is held in a narrow range for the past year.
Police Academy is funny as hell, bro.
For several months. Wages are growing faster than inflation and at a more sustainable pace than earlier in the pandemic recovery. Overall, a wide set of indicators suggests that conditions in the labor market are broadly in balance. The labor market is not a source of significant inflationary pressures. The median projection for the unemployment rate in the SEP is 4.4% at the end of this year and 4.3% over the next 2 years. Inflation has eased significantly over the past 2 years, but remains somewhat elevated relative to our 2% longer run goal. Estimates based on the Consumer Price Index and other data indicate that total PCE prices rose 2.5% over the 12 months ending in February, and that excluding the volatile food and energy categories, core PCE prices rose 2.8%. Some near-term measures of inflation expectations have recently moved up. We see this in both market and survey-based measures, and survey respondents, both consumers and businesses, are mentioning tariffs as a driving factor. Beyond the next year or so, however, most measures of longer-term expectations remain consistent with our 2% inflation goal. The median projection in the SEP for total PCE inflation is 2.7% this year and 2.2% next year.
Y'all see how he threw that little jab at Trump, said it's because tariffs.
In 2027, the median projection is at our 2% objective. Our monetary policy actions are guided by our dual mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices for the American people. At today's meeting, the committee decided to maintain the target range for the federal funds rate at 4.25% to 4.5%. Looking ahead, the new administration is in the process of implementing significant policy changes in 4 distinct areas: trade, immigration, fiscal policy, and regulation. It is the net effect of these policy changes that will matter for the economy and for the path of monetary policy. While there have been recent developments in some of these areas, especially trade policy, uncertainty around the changes and their effects on the economic outlook is high. As we parse the incoming information, we're focused on separating the signal from the noise as the outlook evolves. As we say in our statement, in considering the extent and timing of additional adjustments to the target range for the federal funds rate, the committee will assess incoming data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks. We do not need to be in a hurry to adjust our policy stance, and we are well positioned to wait for greater clarity. In our SEP, FOMC participants wrote down their individual assessments of an appropriate path for the federal funds rate based on what each participant judges to be the most likely scenario going forward. An admittedly challenging exercise at this time in light of considerable uncertainty. The median participant projects that the appropriate level of the federal funds rate will be 3.9% at the end of this year and 3.4% at the end of next year, unchanged from December. While these individual forecasts are always subject to uncertainty, as I noted, uncertainty today is unusually elevated. And of course, these projections are not a committee plan or a decision. Policy is not on a preset course. As the economy evolves, we will adjust our policy stance in a manner that best promotes our maximum employment and price stability goals. If the economy remains strong and inflation does not continue to move sustainably toward 2%, we can maintain policy restraint for longer. If the labor market were to weaken unexpectedly or inflation were to fall more quickly than anticipated, we can ease policy accordingly. Our current policy stance is well positioned to deal with the risks and uncertainties that we face in pursuing both sides of our dual mandate. At today's meeting, we also decided to slow the pace of decline in our balance sheet. Since we began balance sheet runoff, our securities holdings have declined by more than $2 trillion. While market indicators continue to suggest that the quantity of reserves remains abundant, we have seen some signs of increased tightness in money markets. Beginning in April, the monthly cap on Treasury redemptions will be lowered from $25 billion to $5 billion. Consistent with the committee's intention to hold primarily Treasury securities in the longer run, we are leaving the cap on agency securities unchanged. This action has no implications for our intended stance of monetary policy and should not affect the size of our balance sheet over the medium term. The committee also continued its discussions as part of our 5-year review of our monetary policy framework. At this meeting, we focused on labor market dynamics and our maximum employment goal. As we have indicated, our review will include outreach and public events involving a wide range of parties, including Fed Listens events around the country and a research conference in May. Throughout this process, we will be open to new ideas and critical feedback, and we will take on board lessons of the last 5 years in determining our findings. We intend to wrap up the review by late summer. The Fed has been assigned 2 goals for monetary policy: maximum employment and stable prices. We remain committed to supporting maximum employment, bringing inflation sustainably to our 2% goal, and keeping longer-term inflation expectations well anchored. Our success in delivering on these goals matters to all Americans. We understand that our actions affect communities, families, and businesses across the country. Everything we do is in service to our public mission. We at the Fed will do everything we can to achieve our maximum employment and price stability goals. Thank you. I will look forward to your questions.
Howard.
Howard Schneider with Reuters. Thanks for your time. So 2 things on sort of the real side here, inflation and then GDP. How much of the higher inflation forecast for this year is due to tariffs? And since the policy path remains the same, are you effectively reading this as a one-time price level shock?
Okay, so how much of it is tariff? So let me say that it is going to be very difficult to have a precise assessment of how much of inflation is coming from tariffs and from other, and that's already the case. You may have seen that goods inflation moved up pretty significantly in the first 2 months of the year. Trying to track that back to actual tariff increases, given what was tariffed and what was not, very, very challenging. So some of it, the answer is clearly some of it. A good part of it is coming from tariffs, but we'll be working in several other forecasts.
He say that inflation coming back because of Trump. It ain't us, it's Trump.
From tariff inflation. In terms of the
trying to cook them low key.
Your sort of looking through question, too soon to say about that. As I've mentioned, it can be the case that it's appropriate sometimes to look through inflation if it's going to go away quickly without action by us, if it's transitory, and that can be the case in the case of tariff inflation. I think that would depend on the tariff inflation moving through fairly quickly, and would depend critically as well on inflation expectations being well anchored, longer-term inflation expectations being well anchored.
Chat, is stuff still high? Is stuff still high, chat? Chat, is stuff still expensive?
Changed in the out years also. Doesn't that imply you all have basically decided that there is no signal here and that it's just we're back to transitory again?
So I think that's kind of the base case, but as I said, we really can't know that.
Oh my God, transitory.
We're going to have to see how things actually work out. And the fact that there wasn't much change, I think that's partly because you see weaker growth but higher inflation. They kind of offset, and also, frankly, a little bit of inertia when it comes to changing something in this highly uncertain environment. I think there is a level of inertia where you just say, maybe I'll stay where I am.
Just cut the rates, bro. Dang.
Colby Smith with the New York Times. You just described inflation expectations as well anchored, but has your confidence in that assessment changed at all, given the increase in certain measures and the high degree of uncertainty expressed by businesses, households, and forecasters?
So on inflation expectations, of course, we do monitor inflation expectations very, very carefully, basically every source we can find, and short-term, long-term, households, businesses, forecasters, market-based. And I think the picture broadly is this. You do see increases widely in short-term inflation expectations, and people who fill out surveys and answer questionnaires are pointing to tariffs about that. If you look in the survey world, if you look a little further out, you really don't see much in the way of an increase. Longer-term inflation expectations are mostly well anchored. If you look at the New York, for example, then you have market-based, and it's the same pattern. People in markets are pricing in break-evens. Some higher inflation over the next year must be related to tariffs. We know from if you look out 5 years.
Stop blaming this dude.
You'll see that break-evens are either flat or actually slightly down in the case of a longer-term one. So we look at that, and we will be watching all of it very, very carefully. We do not take anything for granted. It's at the very heart of our framework, anchored inflation expectations, but that's what you see right now.
And how much weight do you put on the deterioration in consumer confidence surveys? You said recently that this is perhaps not the best indication of future spending, but I'm curious, what you think is behind this deterioration and to what extent it could be a leading indicator for hard data.
So let's start with the hard data. We do see pretty solid hard data still. So growth looks like it's maybe moderating a bit, consumer spending moderating a bit, but still at a solid pace. Unemployment's 4.1%. Job creation most recently has been at a healthy level. Inflation has
never
started
going
to
up with
move
this
now,
guy,
we think,
bro.
partly in response to tariffs.
We're never
and
going
there
up
may
with this
be,
guy.
A delay in further progress
Said
over the
tariffs again.
course of this year. So that's the hard data. Overall, it's a solid picture. The survey data, both household and businesses, show significant rise in uncertainty and significant concerns about downside risks. So how do we think about that? And that is the question. As I mentioned the other day, as you pointed out, the relationship between survey data and actual economic activity hasn't been very tight. There have been plenty of times where people are saying very downbeat things about the economy and then going out and buying a new car. But we don't know that will be the case here. We will be watching very carefully for signs of weakness in the real data. Of course we will. But given where we are, we think our policy in a good place to react to what comes, and we think that the right thing to do is to wait here for greater clarity about what the economy is doing.
We need clarity, bro. Why is you waiting for?
Nick Timmeros, The Wall Street Journal. Chair Powell, Chair Greenspan once defined price stability as an environment in which inflation is so low and stable over time that it doesn't materially enter into the decisions of households and firms.
Can you say that today, that we have that price stability, that households and businesses are ignoring price growth? When you see buy in advance,
Chet, he's saying the data that's happening is not based off his policy. It's based off Trump's tariffs. So he can't make a decision because he trying to figure out if it's because of his policy or Trump's tariffs. So he's saying he got a good idea. It has nothing to do with he's doing. It's Trump's tariffs that's causing this. This is crazy, man. We Paul Volcker, number
that is
2,
price
bro.
stability.
He'll
I think
never
we
go
were
up with
getting
this guy.
closer and closer to
He
that.
doesn't care.
I wouldn't say we were at that. Inflation was running around 2.5% for some time. I do think with the arrival of the tariff inflation,
He said it
further
again.
progress may be delayed. The SEP doesn't really show further downward progress on inflation this year, and that's really due to the tariffs coming in. So
How much times has he said tariffs?
Our forecasts, we do see ourselves
I
getting
can't
back,
believe I'm listening to this
into
right
the
now.
low 2s in 26 and then down to 2 by 27. Of course, highly uncertain. So I see progress having been made toward that, and then progress in the future. I think that
stimulated
progress
my
is probably
bowels.
delayed for the time being.
If
Thank
that's
you,
the case,
Serge.
Why are there cuts in the SEP for 2025?
So again, people wrote down 2 cuts the last time, and they look at the they wrote down meaningful decline in growth.
I ain't even heated. I'm
from
just
2.1 to
I already
1.7
know what time it is with Jay
2025. A tick up in the unemployment rate, so not much there, but core inflation up by 0.3, and so those two kind of balance each other out. So people, not everybody, but on balance, people wrote down similar numbers. The changes aren't that big.
You got a
The other
point there,
factor, though,
Diamond
as I
Hands. You
mentioned,
got a
is just
point.
really high uncertainty. What would you write down? I mean, it's really hard to know how this is going to work out. And again, we think our policy is in a good place. We think it's a good place where we can move in the direction where
think
we
we
need to.
cooked,
But
man.
in the meantime, it's really appropriate to wait for further clarity. And of course,
He waiting
the
for
costs
clarity.
of doing that, given that the economy is still solid, are very low.
If he ain't got no uncertainty, chat, this uncertainty, this ain't bullish,
Mr.
man.
Chairman,
This
Edward
ain't bullish
Marks with
at
Fox
all.
Business. So with near 4% unemployment
Okay,
rate,
so-
that should be low enough to bring people in from the sidelines in terms of hiring. But we're seeing
This is bullish if you ready to buy the dip. So yeah, technically, go ahead, send us down lower so we can buy the dip, right? Yeah, let's get ready for that. That's bullish. But short term, I don't know.
Pretty high participation, accounting for aging. You've got wages that are consistent with 2% inflation, assuming that we're going to keep getting,
Bro hating, man.
relatively high productivity.
Fed
We've got
back.
unemployment, pretty close to its
Yeah,
natural
Kenneth,
level.
we can't fight the Fed, bro.
But the hiring rate is quite low, but so is the layoff rate. So you look at initial claims or layoffs, so you're not seeing people losing their jobs, but you're seeing that people who don't have a job having to wait longer and longer.
Yeah, he is,
And,
Papa
The
Gun.
question is, which way does that break? If we were to see a meaningful increase in layoffs, then that would probably translate fairly quickly into unemployment, because people are, it's not a
He
it's
said
not a
we
big
need Gary
hiring
Gensler
market.
back.
We've been watching that, and it's just not in the data. It hasn't happened. What we've had is a low firing, low hiring situation, and it seems to be in balance now for the last 6, 7, 8 months. That's where we are. There's healthy levels of job creation, too. So overall, it's a labor market that's in balance, and we watch it very carefully.
So then, have we seen the new administration's policies in the economic numbers yet? And when do you anticipate that happening?
In labor or in other?
In labor and inflation, just across the economy, have we started to see the new policies take effect in the numbers?
Only in a kind of an early way. I mean, it's only been a few months, right? For example, the layoffs that are happening here are, they're certainly meaningful to the people involved, and they may be meaningful to a particular neighborhood or region or area, but at the national level, they're not significant yet. But we don't know. We don't know how far that will go. We'll find out much more. I mentioned that you saw we've had two very strong goods inflation readings in the last 2 months, which is very unexpected. I think hard to trace it to specific tariffs, but it must have something to do with, it's either noise and it'll come back, and that's very possible too. But if it is persistent, then it must be to do with
W Monica in the chest, man. W Monica in the chest. Salute to the ladies, man. W Monica in the chest.
very, very hard to capture because so much of it is indirect. A great example is their washing machines were tariffed in the last round of
said
tariffs.
Trump destroyed everything.
And prices went up, but prices also went up on dryers, which were not tariffed. So the manufacturers they just kind of followed the crowd and raised it. So things happen very indirectly. And so there'll be a lot of work done in coming months to try to trace all that through. But ultimately, though, it's too soon to be seeing significant effects in economic data.
W Monica in the chat.
Craig.
Craig Torres from Bloomberg News. Thanks, Chair Powell. You said transitory price increases from tariffs are the base case. Transitory is the base case. Wasn't it the base case last time? And didn't the FOMC forecast lower inflation ahead last time? And wasn't the lesson
Bro
that
is
it
cooking
quickly
his
got into
ass.
services, haircuts, daycare, everything else? And so I'm just wondering why the 9 aren't taking that on board and are cutting twice this year.
When you say last time, are you talking about the last?
Pandemic, yes, during
Okay,
the
because you
pandemic.
could have been talking about the last time there were tariffs, in which case the inflation was transitory. Yeah, no, of course, we're well aware of that. And, it's still truth. If there's an inflationary impulse that's going to go away on its own, it's not the right policy to tighten policy, because by the time you have your effect, you're in effect, by design, you are lowering economic activity and employment. And if that's not necessary, you don't want to do it.
Bitcoin
In
is
real
pumping
time,
though, Chat.
As we know, it's hard to make that judgment.
It's a 5-minute chart. You can see Bitcoin is pumping though.
But I mean, we have to look at this as a different situation. There are differences and similarities. I mean, it's a different time. We haven't had real price stability fully reestablished yet, and we have to keep that in mind. And
Bro, if this man got
we
Stone
also
Cold
we
Steve
hear that
Austin
people are very
stunner
reluctant to take on
or RKO'd
to
right now, that
allow
would be
prices to go up.
legendary.
At the same time, we hear that businesses are intending to pass many of these prices through. So it's hard to say how this is going to work out.
Oh, yeah.
Steve.
Steve Lees from CNBC. Thanks for taking my question, Mr. Chairman. The Bank of Canada, in its last policy statement, said monetary policy cannot
Salute to
offset the impacts
ZBCN.
of a trade war. What it can and must do is ensure that higher prices do not lead to ongoing inflation.
RKO.
I wonder if that kind of reflects your own sense of prioritization faced with higher prices and weaker growth, that the idea is you have to take care of inflation.
You know, so we have two goals, right? We have maximum.
Why you feel
employment
like
and
that,
price stability,
Freakery?
and we have to
Why
balance
doesn't
those.
Why
And,
doesn't Brick want to use the U.S. dollar? Let me know in the
There can
chat.
be situations in which they're in tension, right? And we actually have a provision in our consensus statement that says what we should do in that case. That's a very challenging, situation for any central bank, and certainly for us. And so what we say that we'll do is we'll look how far
He
each
don't
of those
believe
two
nothing he's
goals
saying
is
right
from-
now. He just
each
like,
of
I don't
those two
believe
measures is
nothing.
from its goal, and then we'll ask how long we think it might take to get back to the goal for each of them, and we'll make a judgment because our tools work in one direction. We're either tightening or loosening. So it's a very challenging situation. Let me say, we don't have that situation right now. That's not that's not where the economy is at all. It's also not where the forecast is. I don't know any mainstream forecast that really shows significant problems like that.
So what are you doing? Are you tightening? Are you loosening? Like you gotta do one or the two, man. Right now you're tightening. But he did say this, chat. To be fair, he did say this, and I've been writing it down, right? He did say they are slowing the tightening of the balance sheet. So this is actually bullish, chat. We had to, he said he's not going to be doing it as much, right? So they're slowing the tightening of the balance sheet. That's a step in the right direction. I know y'all wanted to hear a step in the right direction. That's a step in the right direction.
Current situation, those possibilities are elevated. I will say this. We don't make such a forecast. If you look at outside forecasts, forecasters have generally raised, a number of them have raised their possibility of a recession somewhat, but still at relatively moderate levels. Still in the
David,
region
we needed that
of
correction.
the traditional.
Next leg up. Next
Extremely
leg up,
low.
chat.
If you go back 2 months, people were saying that the likelihood of a recession was extremely low. So has moved up, but it's not high.
Chris.
Everybody raising their hand like they in school.
Hi, thank you. Chris Rugaber at Associated Press. As you know, I guess last night President Trump fired 2 members of the Federal Trade Commission, an independent
Spell
agency.
token?
And,
I don't know.
This could cause the kind of legal fight about the
I don't hold that one
administration's
if
power
you
to
ask me
fire
that,
independent
Papa Gun.
people. If those firings stand, is that a threat to the Fed's independence? Could he do the same thing to the Fed board?
So I think I did answer that question in this
think
very
they
room
about to
some
get
time
fired.
ago, and I no desire to change that answer, and have nothing new for you on that today.
Yeah, you about to get fired, huh? Everybody laughing at that.
As you know, I wanted to go back to the consumer sentiment, particularly the inflation.
Well, see, that's not necessarily like QE, right? That's hinting that we may stop QT, right? We don't technically always go straight into QE unless something bad happens, like a black swan event. But if they can stop QT, that's a step in the right direction.
To not be placing the same weight on that. And so I'm just wondering, are you dismissing that, what we saw last week from the University of Michigan, or does that
Trump
carry the same
hired,
weight as it did
bro.
in the past?
They put me to sleep, Larell. Did
I
you see the
mentioned it
yawn?
back then, but in no way did I place a huge weight on it. I think that was.
Raj says he thinks we may
ex
go
post,
lower.
story,
I do
but
too.
It wasn't the case. That was a preliminary reading, and so is this.
But
It's
we're due
also-
for a
this
bounce.
is
Let's be fair.
that
We're due for a
issue, the one
bounce.
you're referring to, the longer term thing. We look at it. We don't dismiss data that we don't like. We force ourselves to look at it. But it
No
is an
pre-sale
outlier
right now,
compared
man.
to market-based and compared to
Time to
other
print more
survey
dollars, baby.
assessments of longer run inflation expectations. So we got to keep that in mind. And I would just say we look at all of them, and that one's kind of an outlier.
Broccoli
but,
token. That's an
you know,
OG.
Nonetheless, we take notice of it.
Bitcoin past the 15. Okay. Oh shit, chat. We are sending right now. Chat. BTC is sending right now. Oh my god. Next leg up. Let's go. Chat. We are sending right now. Fake pump, chat. Is this a fake pump? Oh damn, this shit is sending. God. Fake pump. BTC pumping right now.
With that, for right now, the hard data are pretty solid. We are obviously aware of the soft sentiment data and high uncertainty. And we're watching that carefully.
Chainsaw, they
and
dropped
we think
one.
it's
They
a
dropped the
good time
chainsaw
for us
meme.
to
It was
wait
like
for
2 weeks
further
ago
clarity before
on
we
Pumped.Fun.
consider
It did
adjusting
pump for a
our
little minute,
policies.
but then it died out.
Do you think it's going to be hard to get clarity in a government by tweet? I mean, do you have a feeling that at some point you actually will
fire
have
chat.
a forecast you can trust?
Yes, I think we will.
Golden cross on the 15 on the 5 minute. That's bullish. Nice little golden cross here on the 5 minute.
Certainly over the course of this year, and we'll be adapting as we go.
Rachel. Hi, Chair Powell. Rachel Siegel from the Washington
Rail
Post.
talk about
Thank
he
you for
glad he
taking our
about to dip.
questions. At the beginning,
Let's
you were
go,
talking
chat.
about separating the signal from the noise and tariff
Half
inflation
day
from
will go to
non-tariff
1
inflation.
cent, 1
Can
penny.
you walk us through
Here
what
we
that
go.
looked
We getting
like
bullish
over the
again when you
last
start
couple
hearing that.
months, if there were specifics from the January meeting to now that helped you make those distinctions?
So when we say separating the signal from the noise, that's just a way of saying that things are highly uncertain and that, you know, you're reading about developments. The news is full of developments of tariffs being put on and taken off and things like that. Some of that is noise in the sense that it's not really telling you anything. You're trying to extract a signal from that, and the signal is what's going to be the effect on economic activity, on inflation, on employment, and all those things. So that's really when we say signal and noise. Sorry, the second thing was
So, Chad, he said there's a lot of uncertainty. So just keep that in mind. There's a lot of uncertainty. I know y'all getting bullish. Just keep that in mind. It's always a lot of volatility before and after the FOMC meeting. We will not know how this news sets in hours from now or maybe days from now. So just keep that in mind.
actually scientifically go back and match up those increases and say, yes, I can prove that that's from tariffs, but it kind of has to be to some extent. Plus noise.
said
There
if
can
Pepe
be
did that would be
idiosyncratic
crazy.
readings in various categories, which will shortly reverse, and that happens too, and that could be a big piece of it. You know, I think we'll know. In a couple of months, we'll know whether those were, you know, where that really was from. But that's another case where I think it's going to be very, very challenging to unpack the inflation that we see over the course of this year and be able to say with confidence how much of that came from inflation and how much of it, from tariffs and how much of it didn't. But that's what we'll be doing. We'll be doing that, and so will everybody else, and we'll all be trying very hard to make that assessment. And, you know, I'm sure we will make a lot of progress on that, and we already have.
I
But
like how
it's
you
gonna be a
think
challenge.
overcome.
Do you have a sense yet as to what, in your mind, would cross from noise to a signal, what that threshold would look like?
You know, it would depend on what we're talking about. I mean, obviously, you're looking for direct evidence that particular.
This guy never says anything of significance. It's always the same. We got to read between the lines. We got to look at the data. The data says this, is that. It's always the same thing with this guy, bro. Every FOMC meeting. We watch the same thing every time y'all ask me to go live, we watch the same thing every time. I don't understand what.
Moving down in a
Watch
very
the
good
same
way.
thing every time,
It's more
bro.
now with goods and to some extent with non-housing services inflation.
It's like he's not, bro. We watch the same thing
Thanks
every
for taking our
time.
questions,
bro.
Chair Powell. Kelly O'Grady, CBS News. So consumer sentiment has dipped dramatically, but you say the economy and the hard data is still solid. What is your message
Uncertainty,
to
man.
consumers that clearly disagree and don't feel that strength?
Pump is
Because the
in.
hard data they're looking at is their grocery bill.
Okay, so a couple things.
Pump is in. Pump it up. Pump it up.
1, 2, and 3, and prices went up. The current level, it's not the change in prices, it's they're unhappy, and they're not wrong to be unhappy that prices went up quite a bit, and they're paying a lot for those things.
Bro,
So I think that is the
if
fundamental
Pepe
thing. It
hit
has
1
been for
penny-
a long time, a couple of years, why people are unhappy with the economy. It's
The
not
pump
that
is
the
in.
economy's not growing. It's not that inflation is really high. It's not that unemployment is high. It's none of those
Fake
things.
pump or short-term rally, Blake?
4.1% unemployment.
Fake
We've
pump
got
or short-term
2%
rally?
growth, and you know it's a pretty good economy. But people are unhappy because of the price level. And we completely understand and accept that.
Right. So cut.
And just to follow up, why are you still projecting 2 rate cuts this year if your own projections show inflation higher for longer? Does that mean you see a slowdown in economic growth as a real threat?
I think I mean,
Come on, man.
Everyone came into
Keep it
this
real.
With,
Keep
at
it
the
real.
December meeting, the median was 2 cuts. The median was.
Okay.
And so you come in and you see, broadly speaking, weaker growth,
Okay.
but higher inflation. And they kind of balance each other out. So you think, and unemployment is really, they're really only a 1/10 change. So there's just not a big change in the forecast. There really isn't. Modest, meaningfully higher growth and meaningfully higher inflation, which call for different responses, right? So they cancel each other out, and people just said, okay, I'm going to stay here. But the second factor is it's so highly uncertain. Is just, we're sitting here thinking, and we obviously are in touch with businesses and households all over the country. We have an extraordinary network of contacts that come in through the reserve banks and put in the beige book, and also through contacts at the board. And we get all that, and we do understand that sentiment has fallen off pretty sharply, but economic activity has not yet. And so we're watching carefully. So I would tell people that the economy seems to be healthy. We understand that sentiment is quite negative at this time, and that probably has to do with turmoil at the beginning of an administration that's making big changes in areas of policy, and that's probably part of it. I do think the underlying unhappiness people have about the economy, though, is more at the price level.
Victoria.
Hi, Victoria Guido with Politico. I wanted to ask, first of all, if you could clarify. You were talking about how tariffs
Thank you, Dr.
were
Shiva.
a good
A
part of
word
the
salad.
in the inflation forecast, and I was just wondering what that specifically refers to. Is that the tariffs that have already been put in place? Is that anticipating some of the tariffs that might be coming on April 2nd? And then also, if you wouldn't mind, talking a little more about the balance sheet decision and what drove that. Did that have anything to do with expectations of how the debt ceiling, raising the debt ceiling might affect the reserve supply?
Yeah, so in the
have
S&P,
conviction.
you'll see that there's not further progress on core inflation this year. We're kind of flatlining, going sideways. We don't ask people to write down how much of this is from tariffs and how.
2 lit candles on the 5-minute. Are we about to dump back down? Fake pump?
In terms of the balance sheet, so yeah, I think, I guess the way I'd say it is, it was the flows in and out of the TGA that got us thinking about it. But as we thought about it, we really came to the view that this was a good time to make the move that we made. And broadly, committee that came around to the view that we would do the same thing we'd already done, which is I guess in June, was it June, whatever it was, we lowered the pace of QT.
Oh, dang, I accidentally cut it off. My bad, chat. My bad, chat. I was looking at something and I hit the wrong button. Let me get them back on for y'all. My bad, chat. Hold on, chat. My bad. I hit the wrong button, chat. I hit the wrong button. Let me get them back on. Where was I, man? My bad, chat. My bad. That's on me, chat. My bad. I gotta get them back on.
We're somewhat above the level we judge as ample. And clearly, we're not at that level yet, but we're going to be approaching it more slowly. It's a common sense kind of a thing, and it had pretty broad appeal, I will say.
Dovish in a while. You feel like he's dovish overcome?
Claire Jones, Financial Times.
You stacking the meme
You said
coins.
in January, Chair Powell, that inflation expectations remained
Bear market
well
over?
anchored. Would you still say they remain
Yeah, Bitcoin is
well
pumping
anchored today?
again,
And just
bro.
to reiterate,
It just ate up that dip just now, just strong. It's pumping again. All right, BTC. All right.
We're talking about
I
longer
like what
run
I'm seeing.
inflation expectations. And they really haven't moved much. I mean, there's one reading that everyone's focusing on that it's higher, but the other survey readings and the market-based readings all show relatively
Pepe with Shiba ecosystem.
well-anchored inflation expectations.
Yeah,
You
Pepe
would
is pretty
expect
big, and it don't
that
even got no
expectations
utility.
of inflation over the course of a year would move
That's
around
crazy, ain't
because
it?
conditions change, and in this case, we have tariffs coming in. We don't know how big, what's big. There's so many things we don't know, but we kind of know there are going to be tariffs, and they tend to bring growth down. They tend to bring inflation up. At the
BTC is pumping. Look at that move. Almost a 3% move. It's still pumping, chat. Why you say he was dovish?
Axios. Treasury Secretary Bessent has observed that a large share of job growth over the last couple of years has been in what he calls government or government-adjacent sectors, healthcare, education.
I think
do you
he
agree
was
there's some
dovish.
weakness in underlying private job growth, and do you see the composition of job growth as something that has policy implications?
So that has been the case. We talked about that over the course of the last year. There were some good number of months and times when a lot of the job creation was concentrated in, educational institutions, healthcare, state governments, things like that.
pumping harder?
There were also times when private sector job growth has been moved.
ETH is low key pumping, chat. 15-minute chart. ETH is pumping though. Nice little move on ETH.
Carefully. From our standpoint, employment is employment. But the elected government is entitled to have, we don't have policies that address different kinds of employment. But the elected government
Rocking with
has a
Pepe
different
like
role,
that?
and they can have those.
Here's a quick QT question. Does the committee envision at some point tapering the MBS runoff as well?
I think tapering it, I don't know. There's no plan to do that. At a certain point, we'll stop runoff. And we may or may not stop MBS runoff, though, because, we want to stop runoff in net at some point. We haven't made any decisions about that. We want the MBS to roll off our balance sheet. We really strongly desire that. So, but we haven't made any decisions about that. I think we'd look carefully at letting that keep going, but hold the overall size of the balance sheet in, constant at some point, a point that we're not out yet.
Look, he wanted to throw that in there so he don't pump the market.
Simon Rabinovich with The Economist. Thank you,
Bro,
Chair
you
Powell.
know you about to
Several
you
times
know you
today
about to
you've said
stop
that You
QT.
feel you're well positioned to wait for greater clarity. At the same time, you could
market
point to
is
quite a
up?
few growth.
We on that hour. We looking good. Looking good, chat.
You're well positioned, or is that one more thing that you're uncertain about?
I'm confident that we're well positioned in the sense that we're well positioned to move in the direction we'll need to move. I don't know anyone who has a lot of confidence in their forecast. I mean, the point is we are at, we're at a place where we can cut, or we can hold what is clearly a restrictive stance of policy, and that's what I mean. I think that's well positioned. Forecasting right now, forecasting is always very, very hard, and in the current situation, I just think uncertainty is remarkably high.
Thank
And
you.
so
So that's what I don't understand what Overcome is saying.
to pivot
Overcome.
back towards rate
The
cuts
man
in
for the
May.
last 30 minutes been saying,
We're not going to be in any hurry to move, and as I mentioned, I think we're well positioned to wait for further clarity, and not in any hurry.
see, he won't commit to when he gonna cut the rates, and he been talking about uncertainty the entire 30 minutes he been talking. So, I mean, uncertainty to me is not really bullish, right? Uncertainty is technically a bearish thing in any type of market. So it's good to see things pumping, but I don't know how much I don't know how sustainable this
Either
is.
of those things. Sometimes with the language, it lives its useful life, and then we take it off, and that was the case here. There's really not meant to be any signal here. Over the past year,
Damn, y'all, look at Tesla. You put that move in on Tesla. Tesla is pumping. NDQ. SPX pumping.
raised their estimate of the risks to our uncertainty, but
shitcoins
also
are
the
green.
risks to growth and our employment and inflation mandates.
XRP
That's a
will
more
dip after this
salient point
meeting.
now than whether they're
X
in balance.
Yeah, that happens to me when I eat
Just
a
on
lot
the,
of
the stock
blueberries.
market, the stock market has obviously declined significantly since the Fed last met. Are you concerned at all about some of the market volatility having a real economic impact in terms of hurting business spending or consumer spending, especially among higher income households?
So financial conditions matter to us because, financial conditions are the main channel to the real economy through which our policy has its effects. So they're important. But what matters from a Fed standpoint for the macro economy is material changes to overall financial conditions that are persistent, that last for a while, long enough to actually affect economic activity. So that's what we're looking for. I'm not going to opine on the appropriate level of any market, equity, debt, commodities, or anything like that. And I would just point you to the bigger picture again. The real economy, the hard data, are still in reasonably good shape. It's the soft data, it's the surveys that are showing, significant concerns, downside risks, and those kind of things. We don't dismiss that. We're watching it carefully, but we don't want to get ahead of that. We want to focus on the hard data. If that's going to affect the hard data, we should know it very quickly, and of course we'll understand that. But you don't see that yet.
Jennifer. Thank you, Chair Powell. Jennifer Schonberger with Yahoo Finance. As you look to navigate higher inflation and lower growth, the Fed has talked about heeding the lessons from the 1970s. Is the Fed willing to have a recession if it means breaking the back of inflation?
Well,
good question.
Fortunately, we're in a situation where we have seen inflation move down from higher levels to pretty close to 2%. While the unemployment rate has
Bitcoin whale got wrecked.
consistent with full employment.
Yeah, he got wrecked.
So we now have inflation coming in from an exogenous
Facts,
source.
Dr. Sheba, that'd be
the
nice.
underlying inflationary picture before that was, basically 2.5% inflation, I would say, and 2% growth and 4% unemployment. So that's what we did. That's what together.
Stock market's still pumping. They kind of like what Trump is saying. I mean, Powell's saying.
I don't see any reason to think that we're
maybe
at a replay of the 70s or anything like that. Inflation, underlying inflation is still running in the twos with probably a little bit of a pickup associated with tariffs. So I don't think we're facing, I wouldn't say we're in a situation that's remotely comparable to that.
And last month, the idea of a Doge dividend was proposed, which would send $5,000 checks to every taxpayer from Doge savings.
Uh-oh.
President Trump and Elon Musk have supported this. There's reports there could be a bill introduced on Capitol Hill. What impact might that have on household savings and spending in terms of your growth and outlook for inflation?
QE chat.
It's not appropriate for me to speculate on political ideas or fiscal policy for that matter, so I'm gonna pass on that one. Thank you.
Daniel.
This man got the best PR team in the industry of PR teams, bro.
Tariffs are already having at least some impact on inflation. I'm just wondering how you and your colleagues on the FOMC have been thinking about the possibility.
Why is this man Powell so goated, bro? Bro got the best PR team in the history of history. He know how to just fade a question so perfectly, bro.
From tariffs and from trade policy generally, and they generally assume full retaliation in those. And so that's kind of baked into the numbers. What happens, it will be complicated, and
Right,
there will be
crypto
some
space.
retaliation and some not, and all that. But
Second time you seen that, right?
with the placeholder, give us a broad sense of what this might look like. When we actually know the specifics, we'll be able to have still uncertain, but better informed forecasts. So yes, that's in there.
Last question goes to Jean.
Hold on, chat. I gotta
Hi,
ask
Chair
you.
Powell.
Do y'all think the
Jean Young
Doge
with M&I Market News.
check happens?
Had a couple questions on the balance sheet change that you made. So the minutes had initially described your discussion on slowing QT as temporary until the debt ceiling is resolved. But from what you said earlier, it doesn't sound like there's a desire to kind of regain the pace of QT that we have at the moment after the debt ceiling is resolved. Is that the case?
Yeah, so we looked at pausing and we looked at slowing, and really people came
Put
together
the
very
poll up,
strongly
chat.
behind slowing, not pausing, for a variety of reasons. And so people really came to be, pretty strongly in favor of this move. It slows down the path and probably
Will
lengthens
those
it,
checks
doubles it
get
effectively
approved? I
by
need
slowing
everybody in here
it
to
by
vote.
half. That people thought that's a good place to be. It'll
Will Doge
help
checks
us assure
get
that this
approved?
path is a smooth one as we get closer and closer to that. So that's how that came about.
Well, I guess my question is more, was that meant to be a temporary measure during the debt ceiling episode, or?
It was.
All right,
it was
chat, vote right
actually
now. Will the
teaching
Doge
for
checks
Treasury
get
General account flows
approved?
that got us thinking about this, but the more we thought about it, we came around to this. And it is, yes, it was provoked, the original discussion was provoked by that, but I think what we came up with, though, was broader than that and different than. It does address that issue, but it really is also, it fits in really nicely with our principles and our plans and the things we've done before and the things we said we would do. So that's why, pretty strong support. I'd just say it's
Y'all think it
nothing
will
to do
get-
with
y'all
monetary
all
policy,
voting yes?
Nothing to do with the size of the balance sheet. It's just kind
Y'all
of a
want that
common sense
QE to happen.
adjustment as you get closer and closer. Let's slow down a little bit again, and that way we'll be more and more confident that we're getting where we need to get. You can take our time getting there. We're shrinking the balance sheet every month, and we think it was a good play, and as I mentioned, well supported. Thanks very much.
Bro getting up out of there. He ain't like that Doge question, bro. That Doge question threw him off. Got up out of there, chat. That's crazy. Bro got up out of there when they asked him the Doge question, bro. That's crazy, chat. Wow. That is crazy. Soon as they asked him about the Doge, he got up out of there. All right, so we got to see how the market is going to react to this. Is this going to be a fake out, chat? Or is this going to hold, right? We got Bitcoin on the 5-minute chart. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not seeing the dovish things that y'all seen. I seen the word uncertainty said a lot, and I also seen the word tariffs say a lot, right? Said a lot. So, you know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if this thing dumps and retraces, right? As this was just a pump to trap liquidity. In my opinion, that meeting wasn't really bullish. He faded a lot of questions that could have been bullish when they asked him a potential time frame between when they will start restricting, halting restrictive policy. He said he didn't want to talk about that. The one bullish thing that I did get from what he said was that they were slowing down the tightening. So I think he said going from like 90 million to 5 million. I don't know, something like that. So that was actually bullish. But a lot of things that's happening in the market seem to be based on the tariffs. So it seems like he's putting a lot of blame on Trump. And that's another thing that's kind of like concerning in my opinion, because I don't think Trump watched that and is going to like that. Right? Because basically he's saying what's happening with the economy, what's happening in the stock market is because what Trump's doing, right? And he's causing everybody, including the Fed, to have uncertainty with their decision making. So I'm not sure how y'all got dovish from that, besides the fact that he said he was slowing down the tightening. But it's going to take a few hours to see how the market is truly going to react to this. On the 15-minute charts on ETH, you can see ETH kind of like starting to dump off, right? Let's go to the S&P. You can see S&P putting those red candles in. So not really sure, I'm not really sure what you guys were seeing from that. So yeah, we'll just have to monitor some of the things that I'm seeing. Right. So, he did make a lot of shots at Trump. He said tariffs, man, so many times. Somebody should probably do a meme video on how many times he mentioned tariffs, right? Once again, for the last 24 months, he said they were watching the data. He also stated there was no rush to start cutting rates. He has to look at the data, and there's a lot of uncertainty because of Trump's tariffs. On the bullish side of things, he said slowing they were planning on slowing the tightening of the balance sheet. He also said that the economy was stronger than people are leading on. So that's actually bullish. Maybe we won't head into a recession. But he definitely made it clear that tariffs are affecting the economy and not the Fed's restrictive policy. So again, we're in this chess game where we can't really control the fate. Test your fate. Yeah, you can see come on, man, guys. That look at the market. The market is sending those gains, bro. Y'all know how these traps be. Hopefully, nobody didn't go long and really believe that was a real bullish meeting. But I don't know. Chat. Let me know what y'all think. Right. Let me get into some of these comments. We'll keep Bitcoin on the screen from now and just see how much it actually dumps on the 5-minute chart from here. And also let's check that poll here. We got 28 votes. 75% people says the Doge, or 72% of people now. 30% of people said the Doge checks will happen. 70% of people said the Doge checks will happen. 30% said they will not happen. Trump will make it happen. Yes, because of Elon Musk. Heard checks aren't coming until July 2026. Yeah, I heard that you absolutely have to pay your taxes in order to be able to get those checks, right? So this is a big year for everybody who's expecting those checks next year. I'm just tuning in. Did they cut rates? They are actually just paused. In my opinion, Powell was a little bit hawkish, fake dovish. These are some of the things that we kind of went over. He took a lot of shots at Trump's tariffs. I mean, a lot of them. For the 27th month, he said they were watching the data, said there was no rush to start cutting rates. But the most bullish thing, in my opinion, that he did say was that they were slowing the tightening of the balance sheets, right? So whatever they were taking out of the balance sheet, they're going to be taking it out at a way more slower pace. So that's one step closer to halting quantitative tightening, right? So that's pretty much what we're getting, but we're kind of like watching to see on the 5-minute chart here how BTC reacts to the noise, right? We got 64 people in here, guys. Make sure that you like and subscribe. That's quick. I'm out. No problem, Crypto Space. He was very quick to leave. Yeah, man. He dipped, didn't he? He's getting fired before next week's up. Yeah, Trump ain't like that. And they asked him the question, chat, about anybody in the Fed being fired? And he skipped that question as well. Just like C, sent checks and boom. Yeah, man. But if we gotta wait all the way to 2026, time capitulation is gonna get a lot of people eliminated. It's like playing dodgeball. You know what I mean? More people that's getting eliminated, the more easier it is for that time capitulation to hit you. It's good to see that we're getting a little bit of bounce here on BTC, man. Let's see if BTC can continue this trend here on the 5 minute. Yeah, just hold long. Nothing. All of this is short-term noise, guys. Regardless of which way we go, the key here is not to get eliminated. The key here is to, what did my boy said at the beginning of the stream? Kind of like double up on your work ethic, triple up on your work ethic. Make sure that you do have a good threshold of capital coming in. So if we do go lower, guess what? You can get crypto for low prices. If we go higher, guess what? You can catch low caps, mid caps, and memes on the way up as a lot of these chains dominance rise. Sol BTC, Sol dominance. Sol just got an ETF. The XRP case just ended, right, from the SEC. So a lot to be looked forward to. You know, this FOMC meeting was basically a nothing burger. Yeah. We know the tariffs are coming. He mentioned the tariffs so many times in that meeting. XRP is bulletproof. I don't know what AAI when I don't know what that is. April flash crash. The real move is in May. That'd be great if it's in May, right? Because they were saying sell in May and go away. But if we do the opposite, that would catch a lot of people off guard, right? XRP is the new standard. I'm not. I told you guys at the beginning of the screen. This really means nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I've been deleveraging from the market, practicing risk management, and going into stable coins because of the weakness and uncertainty that I've seen. People questioned it and said Millie was bearish. I don't really care how anyone feels. I got to make the best decision for my portfolio, and my job is to explain you guys my journey and what I'm going through in crypto. So it just made sense for me at that point to take some stuff on the table because I've been in crypto for the last 3-4 years, right? So I've made some gains. It's good that I can put some of that into stable coins and prepare for either the next leg up because I trust my skill set in finding new coins, or being able to buy top 100 coins and blue chips and these good USA coins that we talked about in the beginning of the stream for low and for clearance, preparing for the next 4 years, which could be the golden era of crypto. This next 4 years could be the golden era of crypto. So regardless, I'd rather prepare, proper preparation. You can see a lot of those gains. BTC going to retest those moving averages on the 5 minute, but I wasn't too sold anyway from this FOMC meeting because one thing that Powell kept mentioning was tariffs and uncertainty. And what do we know about the market, chat? Is that it doesn't like uncertainty. Yeah, he's always watching the data, isn't he? Asia open market pump. Yeah, I agree. We could see some money come in from the Asian market. Instead of checks, send everyone BTC. That would be actually pretty dope, right? We've seen El Salvador do that, right? And that has done wonders for their economy out there. I would love to see that, and that would solidify the government really stamping and making crypto adopted. That would, if they send out Bitcoin, hell, if they send out Dogecoin, if they send out these checks in Dogecoin or something crazy like that, no answer is a loud answer. Jerome is not lying about them tariffs. Truth is the truth. Well, the thing about tariffs in chat, we talked about this, right? Lone Wolf. I'm not saying that he's lying. I'm not saying none of that, right? I'm with you, bro. You know what I'm saying? We seen what happened. If we go here to the weekly, we seen what happened, right, in 2018 with the tariffs. And if these tariffs are truly showing uncertainty, as Powell mentioned, right, it's because the last time we were implemented tariffs, we were already headed into a downtrend. Trump implemented these tariffs, and we went straight into a bear market. And I know you guys don't want to talk about it, but this is why Powell kept saying tariffs are causing uncertainty. Tariffs are causing uncertainty because the last time we were in a downtrend, we got hit with Trump tariffs here, and we went straight into a bear market in 2019, the next year. So that's where that's coming from. right? And but I know everybody in here is bullish, so I don't want to like be too bearish because I know how y'all get. Y'all are just really, really bullish people. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I don't blame it. You know, everybody we gotta make it somehow here in crypto, right? All right, so let's get back on the 5-minute chart and see if BTC can bounce up out of here. But you're not saying anything wrong there, Lone Wolf. You're not saying anything wrong at all, good brother. Yep, never cut your falling knife. I believe they have a bull run this year because BTC haven't hit up. I think you need to do a little bit more research on the halving events. Freaky, like I've done research on the halving event, so I can't really agree with you there. You know what I mean? But again, you can have your own opinion. Everybody has an opinion, and I respect it. I got so much to say about the American dollar losing its value, but I'm just gonna let it go. How do you feel about it, AOKG? I mean, especially in the industry that you're in, how do you feel about the American dollar losing its value? Because that's what Trump's apparently he wants the dollar to at least go down a little bit, so the economy or everything won't be feeling so expensive in this economy, right? Businesses can get supplies, right? Retail can thrive and have extra money to buy into these risk on assets, right? And the elites can get richer, right? As consumers have more money, irresponsible retail only make consumers only make the people that have these businesses, these elites, richer, right? It's kind of like a revolving door. So that's why we're doing on this channel, guys. We need to focus on assets, and really, really, you know, putting that money into things that can create more liquidity for us, opposed to buying all these materialistic things, making the elites even richer. Yes, man. I hope we all become a millionaire. Can you please? There was a psychological operation in Wall Street by Street. Yeah. Bitcoin starting to bounce back on the 5-minute chart, but again, this is just a 5-minute chart. I don't know. A lot of people want a payment in fiat instead of Bitcoin. They're very ignorant on the potential Bitcoin. Yeah, you can't argue that, man. You can't argue that. Like, I know we want in crypto, it feels like everybody is using crypto. It feels like everybody is using Bitcoin. But just go ask the average person about crypto and Bitcoin, and you will see that I think a lot of this cycle has been driven by institutional liquidity and just the people in crypto being able to make more money and keep putting money in crypto. It hasn't really been driven from retail. We haven't really seen retail in that euphoria stage that we all want to see. We've seen a lot of hype. And of course, the Trump token caused a lot of hype, but we didn't get that hype that I seen in the last cycle, in my opinion. Don't forget the rug pulls Trump token and Melania token. Do you think meme coins like Turbo? Yeah, I think Turbo is in a good space, man, especially with the AI narrative. Bitcoin looking like it's trying to pump on the 5 minutes, guys. It's trying to stay strong. It's trying to stay strong. It's all a hoax to cover their personal pocketbook. They just trying to use and to live them above everyone else, so truly separate themselves. Yeah, man. People don't believe in these theories, though. They think like it's either black or white. The taxing of other countries won't matter if they stop doing business with the U.S. These rich folks just like partying in America and having assets here. Without that, none of this U.S. media would matter. Well, they're already starting to have meetings without us. They're already starting to re-implement tax against us as a ploy of retaliation. So we already starting to see that, right? But the bullish hopium here is that the global liquidity is rising. All right, and you're starting to see these countries start to print money, i.e. Germany, i.e. China, i.e. now the EU, and now everybody's anticipating at some point the U.S. will start printing. And I think Trump actually wants the U.S. to join the party with printing. The problem is Powell is playing hardball, and you can see some people agree with the things Powell says. Not everybody thinks Powell is the enemy here, which is crazy to see in the chat that there are people that kind of are leaning towards Powell's opinion of tariffs, which is, in reality, a fair opinion, right? It's a fair opinion. So the only thing we can do as investors is properly prepare, because if they're going to consistently push uncertainty, it's hard to just be bullish unless you got a lot of liquidity to really spare. So if you got spare money and money is not a thing that you think about and you good and you gravy, yeah, you could keep buying the dips and you'll look back and be like, yeah, these were good dips to buy. Right? The problem is, can everybody keep shaking like that, right? Is everybody going to be able to keep buying a dip, buying crypto, investing into these projects? We'll just have to see how long retail can last before we truly see capitulation in this cycle, and we do head into the bear market. But that's why I showed you 2018, so you can see how the tariffs did play a part. I remember I did the live stream, and the guy was like, "Oh, Millie, it's irresponsible for you to say the tariff started the bear market." I didn't say the tariff started the bear market. I showed you guys we started a downtrend. The tariff made it worse. We already were starting a downtrend on the weekly. The tariffs only made it worse. That's the only thing I was pointing out. We should pump the 90K. Yeah, we should. My favorite blue chip tokens. I would have to say Tau, H bar, and I'm really, really, really liking Constellation right now. Ticker DAG. This is not a fake pump. The problem is how you can hold. Well, yeah, it is. How long can you hold? Can you make it to the finish line? I agree there. Powell is using tariffs as a cover because he knows he effed up when he cut rates last year. Do you think Powell cut them too early? I was saying the answer in regard to the Doge dividend is just as loud as an answer. Yeah, he can't commit to it, right, Brandon W? I mean, let me go to the poll. Do you guys think we get the checks? We got 46 votes. 76% of y'all think we do get the Doge checks. That's good. So that's saying most people here, most people here believe that we are getting quantitative easing. Let me see. Crypto Millie, are you in tune with the Libra token scandal of the Argentine president? Nah, I'm not in tune with it. I don't know anything about it. I seen it, and it's an unfortunate situation for the guy that got involved in it. And man, it's just like people don't know, man. Like having to create and run a token of that magnitude, that's fucking, whew. That's why people over here doing it, bro. That's why people just saying they just disappearing, bro, because that's a lot of pressure. You know, I do apologize for everybody that may have got burnt in that token, man. But man, it's these that's crazy, bro. I'm buying loads of the 5th of April. Okay. Elon can go anywhere and build countries. People, no matter the color, would accept him, but Elon is choosing to play Superman and save his people, but they don't want to be saved, though. Barbarians. Oh, who is Elon's people? Okay, what's the context here, AOKG? When you see Elon is saving his people, what are you saying? Good rebound here from Bitcoin BTC on the 5-minute chart, guys. Looks like the market doesn't really care what Powell is saying, and it seems like it wants to call Powell's bluff. We'll just have to see. The market is showing strength. It is showing strength. We can't deny here. Still holding on to this 85K and looking to trend higher. Trump and Melania, same script for real. Yeah, I think it was the same people who did it. I believe meme coin's still #1. One way or another, printer will break. Exactly, X marks the spot. One way or another, that's what's going to happen. If Powell thought cutting rates was right then, when the economy was pumping, why doesn't he think cutting rates now, when an economy is supposedly cracking? Because yes, Kevin, is he saying that the economy is showing this weakness because of tariffs? It's not because of his monetary policy, right? He would argue that if Trump would not have implemented these tariffs, well, technically you can say, is Trump really implementing tariffs? Because every time he say he's going to do tariffs, he either postpone it or he push it to the side, right? So are they truly implemented? I got to do more research. Maybe you guys can confirm that in the chat. I know some supposed to be implemented April 2nd or April 4th, but he's saying that it's not because they're pausing the rates because we're seeing weakness in the economy. It's because Trump's tariffs. That's what he's saying. I can't wait till altcoin season. X marks the spot. The more they print, it all goes back into their pockets. We barely see 2%. Yeah, man, it all does. It all. What happened when they printed all that money in 2020, guys? Everybody felt rich and they bought this, cars, houses, all this monetary, clothes, Gucci, this. They was just buying. It was going crazy, right? You know, all these businesses was going crazy, and they were only making the elites more richer, right? I think in 2020, Ferrari or Lambo, I think it was Lamborghini, set an all-time high for the cars sold in 2020. They set an all-time high. So yeah, they print money, but it all ends up right back in their pockets, right? Because when they print this money, not only does BlackRock already own all the businesses and literally own all the real estate, right? But they also are buying into these stocks and buying into these risk on assets. So they're making money like 3 or 4 times, all from I think I'm still live. What happened? They cut me off for a second, chat. What were we talking about? They cut me off for a second. As soon as I got to cooking, they got to cutting me off. All right, where were we? And where you go, bro? Bro said the NWO got me. Billions of clothes. Your audio was transitory. The NWO got me. The aliens picked me up. Y'all is crazy, bro. All right. I have a stock tip not to change markets DGLY. Take a look at it and see if you think yay or nay. Let's check it out. And hopefully BTC. All right. So let's see what we have here. But if we get 3 weekly candles in a row, that'll be 3 white soldiers. We do got a stock RSI cross here on BTC on the weekly. Looking good, chat. Looking good, man. Looking good. We looking good. And we still above that 50-day moving average. We actually are looking pretty good, man. We're looking good. I don't know if this is going to be a fake out, but things are looking good. If we get another green candle next week, that'll be 3 white soldiers. And that's very bullish. All right, let's get into this stock. He said, what was the stock? DGLY. DGLY. Digital Alley. Let's see. I don't know what this is, but you know, it's definitely trying to build out a floor. What is this? Why has it gotten so cooked? Yeah, this a Warren Buffett move right here. You like, You're like, man, I'm buying into some real fear. You buying in some real fear right here, bro. If this ends up being the bottom and this thing just sends from here, bro, you know, there's you over here pulling Nancy Pelosi moves, bro. You know something we don't know about this? You know something we don't know about this? This joint been in a wicked downtrend. I gotta go to the monthly chart. God damn. Bro. Bro. What is this? All right, let me throw back on BTC. I don't know what he got. But I'm saying, if you pull that off, bro, you the goats of the goats. Monthly is still bearish for Bitcoin. We got 62 people in here. My name is Crypto Millie. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Look at all the retail shutting down. Yeah, man, it's been crazy, right? Big Lots, Forever 21, Macy's, what's next, Chili, bro. And then what? Amazon? What did the Amazon did? AOKG? They fired like what? 14,000 managers. They fired managers, bro. They fired 14,000 managers. Nationwide, which is absolutely insane. So it's like people not paying attention to that, man. People not paying attention to that. I remember when I was a kid, right? I always wondered what happened to those stores back in the day, right? That we used to have when we was a kid that they not around today, right? Is that an example of what happens during recessions, like the Montgomery Wards, the Blockbusters? What's another one that we had back in the day that we don't even see today? But I know for sure, like Montgomery Wards and Blockbuster, like, you know, like what happened were those victims of the recession? Like, that's crazy. It's not a token. Stock market. Yeah, I know it's a stock play. I know it's a stock play, but I was asking you what type of stock is it? Okay, he says the AI company. Yeah, the plan. Yeah, March 2026. BlackRock in hand. Oh, BlackRock got involved. That's crazy. You the goat, bro. You the goat. If that thing go crazy, matter of fact, I might have to. I'm gonna keep my eye on it. Is it on Robinhood? With Amazon. Yeah, Amazon fired a lot of people yesterday. Yeah, well, then it was worldwide. If Chick-fil-A shut down, I don't ever see Chick-fil-A shut down, bro. Chick-fil-A? Come on, guys. If Chick-fil-A shut down, that'd be crazy, man. That'd be heartbroken because I like Chick-fil-A. Matter of fact, I'm thinking about going to get some Chick-fil-A now. Are you talking about fat season? Yeah, I've been seeing this all over Twitter. I've been seeing this all over Twitter. I don't know what this is, man, but I've been seeing this all over Twitter. But wow, it's at an $8 million market cap. It's been sending, bro. Man, maybe it's fat dude season, bro. Fat dude season. I ain't gonna hate, bro. I mean, I you know, they're saying, I'm an athletic guy, but fat dudes winning right now. They got a token that's at 8 million. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna hate, bro. I ain't gonna hate. It's at an $8 million market cap. It's up 230% on the 7-day. It's damn near up 4x on the week. It's been sending. I've been seeing it all on Twitter, man. Everybody been going crazy with this token in the trenches. I've been seeing it. Parental advisory, though. Let's go back to the 5-minute chart on BTC and see what's cracking. Maybe it got back to where it got back to, because it was pumping. Hey, speaking on Blockbuster, GameStop might be. Oh man, GameStop been seeing yeah, fat season, right? Hey man, salute to the fat dogs, bro. I ain't tripping, bro. It's all love, bro. Rex 57, good to see you in here, man. GameStop been seeming like it's on its way out for a while now. for a while now, AOKG. And Randall's isn't around anymore. Randall's, yeah, that's another one, right? But yeah, that seemed like it's been on this way out for a while. I'm trying to think of another one that was pretty popular back in the day. I mean, I know in my city they shut down like multiple movie theaters. I mean, back in the day we had the $2 movie theater. They don't even got the $2 movie theater no more. You used to be able to go to the movie theater on Fridays and it only cost you $2 or sometimes $1 if they having a special. They been shut that down. Um yeah, man, that's crazy. But definitely Win Dixie, that's what it. So that's the three like major things that I don't see now as an adult that I was wondering. Like it was Blockbuster, Montgomery Ward, and Winn Dixie. All right, he says it provides law enforcement agencies, commercial fleet companies, and event security teams high quality video solutions and software management, body cameras, vehicle video. Yeah, that seems like that seems like something that's gonna be around for a while. Why that should be pumping, bro. That should be pumping. I mean, with the as we continue to move into the era of digital age and these body cameras, I can see something like that exploding, man. Good catch. Yeah, the $1 movies. Hey, yo, KG, what happened, bro? The drive-in movies, bro. I'm not look. I miss drive-in movies. In the other state I used to stay in, they still got the drive-in movie, right? And that was like the spot, right? You know, only the real ones know. You know what goes on in drive. Okay, let me move on from the drive-in because I got a lot of drive-in movies, man. That's a little bit too rated R, so we'll move on. Food lines. No, you know, contrary to your beliefs, wise minds, food lines are pretty popular where I'm at. Food lines are pretty popular where I'm at. Yeah, bro. They shut down the Winn Dixies, bro. They shut down the Winn Dixies. They still got Winn Dixies where y'all at? Overcome says I'm 34 block. But yeah, Blockbuster was legit, man. We used to go in there and get the games. Like, you know, soon as Royal Rumble came out, I go get the N64 Royal Rumble. I go get the Golden Eye, right? We go get the Golden Eye. 007 Golden Eye. Come on now, man. We go get Super Smash Brothers out of Blockbuster. We go get that Super Smash Bros. And let's not talk about the CDs, bro, because I used to go get all the Lil Wayne albums and stuff from Blockbuster. Or maybe that's another store that sold CDs. I could have swore they sold CDs too. Maybe I'm tripping. But I know for sure they closed a lot of them CD stores too. Golden shit. Can't have no drive-ins in Chicago. Oh man, you in Chirac? Oh my God. I can just imagine the drive-thrus in Chirac, bro. You gotta pull up with the Tesla truck. Bro, you gotta pull up to Chicago drive-thrus with a Tesla truck, bro. You never know what you got till it's gone. Yeah, that's good. That's what they say. BTC, people are buying this dip, y'all. People are buying this dip. BTC is holding up strong, man. Let's see how the stock market is doing. SPX. Stock market not as strong as BTC. I ain't even gonna cap, but it's trying. BTC is strong, man. Hopefully the altcoins. Okay, so a lot of stuff is starting to dip on the hour. But we'll just, like I said, that's just a short time frame, guys. It's just a short time frame. But I'm telling you how I felt when Powell was talking. And, you know, everybody got their own opinion, to be honest. Let's check this poll here. 66% of people, what's this? Let me go right back to where I was at. I just got thrown off. You gotta pull up. Yeah, you gotta pull up Chicago to test the truck. I think XRP bring BTC to 1 million, maybe. Why do you think XRP correlation is gonna take Bitcoin to 1 million? I respect everybody's opinion. You got a different way of looking at crypto, man. But I respect your bullish. You stick to your bullish thesis, Fakiri. You stick to your bullish thesis, man. Circuit City. That's what it is. Overcome. It was Circuit City, bro. It was Circuit City, bro. It was Circuit City. Overcome. You the GOAT, bro. Salute to Overcome. It was Circuit City. Yes, that's where I used to go get the CDs from. Circuit City. Circuit City. Y'all still got Winn-Dixie in Florida? I'm surprised. Tesla truck is yeah, man. You can't go out pull up. You gotta have to. It's I don't know, right? Lord's chicken. Ah, I know that huge grocery store where Dixie sold to HEV. Y'all Winn Dixies must be look brand new, bro, because they shut down all the Winn Dixies out here. Well, they not rocking with that. So I wonder how the Winn Dixies look in Florida. Have they rebuilt them? Fry's Electronics. That's another OG one, AOKG. Fry's is another one, dog. Fry's is another one, bro. You could go to Fry's and get some sugar honey iced tea for the low, bro. You can go to Fry's and get some sugar. Pull it up to pulling up. No, hold on. Pulling up to a drive-in movie in Chicago is equivalent to going to if you ever been to a swap meeting in Crenshaw. So if you ever, cause I done been to a swap meeting. I done been to the swap meeting in the hood in LA. If you ever went to the swap meeting, then you know what I'm talking about. If you ain't never been to a swap meeting, then you don't know what I'm talking about. That's what I'm telling y'all guys. Like, don't get me up here talking, bro. But like, if Chicago had, it'd be equivalent to pulling up to a swap meeting in LA. I don't know if anybody ever been to swap meetings in LA. This when I was a young gunner. Wawa. Wawas. I thought that was a new gas station that they was building places in the East Coast. UGOs, what's up? Salute to my H-Bar. Gang, 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 gang. H-Barbarians. Ryans, bro. Oh my God. Ryans is another one, chat. They shut down the Ryans, bro. They even shut down the Golden Corrals out here. We don't got Ryans and we don't got Golden Corral no more. Market manipulation. Yeah, market makers are not our friends. And bro, made me hungry. Talking about some Ryans, bro. Ryan's was alright, bro, when I was a kid. Now that I think about it, it was like I didn't really have no taste like that, but it was a good, spot back in the day when I was a jit. And then Golden Corral, right? Golden Corral was another one. Wow. Y'all think it's market manipulation? Could be, man. Could be, man. Look like things are starting to head into realism for the hour. You got 2-week candles here on the 5-minute. Man, not bad, not bad, not bad, not bad. Bitcoin trying to hold up. Bitcoin strong, but we know Bitcoin gonna be strong because gold is strong. The thing is the stocks. The stocks gonna be strong, which are showing, they're not really showing them as much strength as BTC. And then we gotta look at ETH, right? Is ETH going back down? ETH on the 5-minute. I don't know, man. ETH it just look like at all times it can just fall off the map, bro. ETH at all times looks like it can just fall off the map. Y'all still got Golden Corrals out there? Golden Corral macaroni don't got no taste, bro. That shit tastes too tart. All right, guys. So I guess that's it. We've been live for 2 hours. We went crazy today. We chilled. We hung. We talked about J Powell. Everything still stands in the market. Everything still stands in the market, chat. We already know what happened, right? He mentioned tariffs. He said tariffs was the reason for this, that, and that, and how Basically, it's not his restrictive policy that's causing weakness in the economy. It's more tailored to tariffs and uncertainty. So one thing we picked up from Powell's, short of like POV, right, was that it's a lot of uncertainty in the market, and he's going to have to continue to watch the data. He also stated that he's in no rush to cut rates or enter QE or stop quantitative tightening. On the bullish end, he did mention that they were slowing the tightening of the balance sheet. So they're not going to be too forceful with restricting. They're going to be slowing it. So that's one thing to look at as far as bullish. And then, again, talking about how the tariffs are affecting the economy and the stock market, not so restrictive policy. So the whole point and how I'll be reacting to this personally is uncertainty. More uncertainty, more uncertainty, more uncertainty. And we'll just have to see how the market reacts to this. It's going to take a few days, guys, to let this bake in, okay? So you can't expect it to bake in 5 minutes, 1 hour, even 4 hours after the meeting. Give it a couple days, give it a week. Let this stuff bake in before you commit to anything being bullish or bearish. I'm going to leave you with that. I appreciate everybody that showed up to the chat, man. Thank you. That macaroni has no flavor, Amp. No cap, bro. Overcome, appreciate you, good brother. And I ain't gonna lie, some banks got replaced with just ATMs. When you pull up, no customer service, just you in a box. That's crazy. Oh man, Kmart was another one that got clipped where I'm at. They clipped Kmart off, guys. Kmart, and now I don't know if it's like that where y'all guys are at, but now they're clipping off Big Lots. All the Big Lots are saying we about to shut down everything on 50 to 70% clearance sales. It seems like where I'm at, they shutting down all the Big Lots. So I don't know. And I like Big Lots. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I'd rather go to Big Lots than go to the dollar store. You feel me? If I'm going to Family Dollar or something like that, I might just go to Big Lots. Right? And they shutting down all the Big Lots where I'm at as well. Always market manipulation, focus on not getting manipulated right with the punches from AMC Ape. I know market manipulation is a part of the game. Yes, man. So Louisiana got Shoney's. Oh, Shoney's, man. They shut down the Shoney's where I'm at too. That's crazy. They replaced the Shoney's with IHOP. They replaced the Shoney's with IHOP. Amp. I told y'all, bro. Amp ain't lying, bro. That joint don't got no flavor. It tastes like straight cheddar and cheddar. I don't even know. Sharp cheddar at that, like really sharp cheddar. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. My Big Lots got shut down months ago, right around the corner. Yeah, man. They sending Big Lots out of there. They send in Big Lots. Big Lots look like whoever who owned all them Big Lots, they either sold them off or they going out of business. Maybe they going bankrupt or something. But yeah, I'm seeing a lots close down where I'm at as well. But yeah, I appreciate everybody that showed up to the chat, man. We here. We're just gonna have to see how the market reacts to this uncertainty. I kind of got an idea how it's going to react. I know some people are going to leave this and think like, oh, we're about to pump or oh, we're about to dump, but just let the market do what it do. The main thing is we got to kind of adopt that bear market mentality, guys. Increase our hustle, increase our work ethic, increase the bottom line in the pockets. Tap them pockets and ask yourself, can I continue to buy the dip? And if you can't continue to buy the dip, then your main focus need to be increasing your work ethic. That's the biggest thing that I'm focusing on. Increasing my work ethic, increasing my capital, and being prepared to buy a generational opportunity if the market gets sent into a recessionary environment or a bearish environment. If it pumps, I want to be able to have stables to kind of catch these coins that are down 70 to 80%, and maybe they go up 10x to 40x or something crazy in the next leg up. You got to understand, each leg up, if you look at BTC, there were altcoins that did 50x's, 100x's. So if you locked in the market in the midst of a euphoria stage or euphoric stage, all you got to do is find a narrative, whether it be USA coins, AI coins, meme coins, find good plays in that narrative, and you can take advantage of the market in each next leg up if you're not a person that has diamond hands or hodl. Diamond hands, hodl is not for everybody. If you do have diamond hands and you hodl, then if it don't apply, let it fly, right? Do your thing, diamond hands, and just expect at some point we're headed into QE and we're heading to the next leg of the liquidity cycle, right? But if you're not a diamond hands person, it's so many people that came into crypto in a month or 2 months and made 10K, 20K, 50K, 100K, right? So there will be opportunities when we go up. You don't have to feel the need or pressure to buy every dip if that's not the type of investor you are. I think in crypto, we need to have a more of an open mind to other people in their investment strategies. Like, let a person be the investor they are. If they're a person that don't want to have diamond hands, who cares, right? Maybe they're a good trader. Maybe they know how to catch narratives, right? If it is a person that has diamond hands, salute to them. Salute to the balls of steel it takes to hold. But we need to start embracing each other's skill sets and strategies opposed to being at each other necks because somebody doesn't have diamond hands or somebody likes to trade coins or do, like, everybody has a strategy. As long as we get to the finish line, that's all that matters. And regardless of what happens in this market from here on out, you can't deny that everything's becoming pro crypto. Solana got ETFs today in the US, by the way. XRP case just ended with the SEC. So things are happening, and it is what it is. So I'm going to see y'all with it, man. Appreciate everybody. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, guys. Just open a big... Puddin' Prop said he's nervous? What? I'm surprised. Did the Fed just start the bull run? I don't know about that, man. Love, everyone stay focused. Once you really comprehend that only 3 asset managers on 88% of stock market, the game shows itself. They're trying the same in crypto now. Great point of view, Rawhead. Is Big Lots a food place? No, it's like a Dollar Tree, bro. It's like Family Dollar. It's like things are not a dollar, but they got really, really good deals, right? But it's not like Dollar Tree. It's like Family Dollar or Dollar General. People always shop there, even though I went and bought a lot of household items. It was booming with customers and prices were similar to Walmart. Said I'm nervous. I think the prices in Big Lots is a little bit cheaper than Walmart. UGL's Facts just opened a Big Lot. Told you I was coming. I thought we hit rock bottom, but now we going to Black Swan prices. Diamond hands crap for real. AMC taught me good. Yeah, man. A lot of people, take your excuse my language. I didn't want to say that. Take your profits, right? Take your profits. Understand we in QT. Don't fight the Fed. QT means take your profits. You up 10x, 20x, take your profits, man. We're in QT. QE different. Everybody got money. Everybody holds longer. We can run things up to 100x. We can have diamond hands in an environment where everybody feels rich. Nobody feels like they need to PvP each other. It's just a different environment. We're in QT. You get up on a token, take your profits. Leave your moon bag. Chill out. You ain't never lied unless you earn dividends, like staking, right? Liquid staking. Peace. I'm ordering my computer today, Millie. Yeah, man. Salute to you, man. No problem. Crypto Playground, man. Appreciate you, good brother. Appreciate everybody that showed up to the stream. I'm trying to stream daily, man, and just keep a positive mental attitude about this crypto space, man. That's the only thing we could do. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace.